The name of God that really stands out to me is Jehovah Jireh, my provider, because he provides all of our needs all the time. And I know that a lot of people think of their needs as being food and shelter and clothing, and those are definitely needs, but he also provides his personal experience and his presence and even his voice. And for me, hearing his voice and having his presence means the most. And we serve a living God, and that just blows my mind that he would want to have that relationship with us. A lot of people say, like, how do you hear the voice of God? And I would say everybody has, he talks to everybody in different ways, but I would definitely say read his word, his Bible, and every time you read the Bible, he speaks to you, for sure. But also he whispers to your heart. He has such a still, small voice, and he gives advice, and he blesses you with his presence. And we know that we serve a living God. He's not just a rock or something, you're not worshiping a rock. It's God. And so for me personally, it's that personal relationship, and I challenge you to have that with God as well. So if you don't know where to start, like I said, read the Bible, and he'll speak to you every time through that. So for me, Jehovah Jireh, my provider.
One of the ways that I've experienced the name of God is by Good Shepherd. And I love being outside. And the Lord has always, we moved a lot, and the Lord has always placed me in a place where I could come and be out in the open with him and just spend time with him, and always to be by water. And there was 3 years ago that my father was having surgery, and I couldn't go into the hospital with him. And so the Lord led me to a park, and I just spent the afternoon praying, and the Lord just started really ministering to my heart about how he is my good shepherd and how he will lead me, and does lead me to places of still waters. And I love that about the Lord. I love seeing, like, when the sun hits the water and it dances and it sparkles like diamonds, and I love it when the water is very quiet and you see the reflection of the trees and everything that's around it in the water. And the Lord has taught me that when I am still with him, that's when he can actually work in me. And that's what I wanted to do. I want to reflect him. I thought that day then the Lord was talking to me at that park where there was these beautiful ponds there. I thought he was just ministering to my heart because of my father and just, that situation. Had no idea that he was actually preparing me, that 3 months later, when my husband suddenly went home to glory after a motorcycle accident, the Lord just scooped me up as a good shepherd. He carried me. He placed me in the family with my daughter and my grandsons, and they lived out in the country. And so again, the Lord put me in a wide open space that has beautiful ponds. And the Lord started teaching me that in this season, it was okay. It was okay for everything to slow way down and to be really quiet. And that he's just started just like a good shepherd would, providing for my every need, protecting me. And he just caused everything to just be at a really very, very, very slow pace. It was beautiful. And so I'm very grateful that I know the Lord is my good shepherd.
So I remember well the day that God revealed himself to me personally as my protector. Actually, it was my protector and corrector all in the same instance. It was in February of 1993, and it was a rainy, misty morning, and I was a little rebellious about wearing my seatbelt at that time. Like, I grew up when that was not a law, so at that time I was not very good about wearing my seatbelt. And my husband and I Scott was driving, and we were on the old river road driving to the town in Illinois where we lived. And there was a bluff on one side and the Mississippi River on the other side of the road. And we were driving along, and I felt the back end of the truck just slipped just a little teeny bit. And in my spirit, I heard in a no-nonsense tone, "Get your seatbelt on now." And I didn't hesitate. I just whipped that seatbelt over and locked it in place. And we didn't realize it, but like right at that moment was when, the temperature drops like a slight little bit and it turns from rain to ice, and we weren't aware of it. And it was not 30 seconds later that I saw a truck coming. We were kind of going up an incline, and I saw this truck coming, and right before he got to us, he lost control and slid completely sideways across both lanes of traffic and slid right into us head on. And it completely totaled our vehicle, but we were not seriously injured. It didn't, our pickup spun circles in the road, but it did not crash into the bluff side, and it did not go off on the riverside. And it was just, I felt His presence so strong in the cab of that pickup right as it was getting ready to happen. It was like everything was happening in slow motion, and I could just feel His presence so strong. And it was like He was reassuring me that, yes, it is going to hit, but you're going to be okay. And I just felt nothing but calm in that moment. And He really did protect us. If I had not had my seatbelt on, I think I would have probably gone through the windshield. So I knew Him intimately, had an intimate awareness of His presence with us in that moment. But also, I realized, that He had corrected me also there was no hint of rebellion of wearing my seatbelt after that. So He revealed Himself to me as my protector and my corrector in the very same instance. And I also realized how important it is to obey the voice of the Lord. And He wants us to learn to obey His voice. And I'm not talking about hearing an audible voice. My husband was in the cab with me and he didn't hear it, but I heard it in my spirit. And He wants us to learn to hear His voice and learn to obey His voice, because someday our very life might depend on it.
Growing up in the church was a blessing. My parents taught me the love of Christ through lots of things, including music. And I remember a song that's very nostalgic for me. It was Jehovah Jireh, my provider. We knew as a child, my sisters and I knew that God would provide for us no matter what our situation was. And I think about the scripture of Abraham and Isaac. God had asked Abraham to sacrifice Isaac. I cannot even imagine what that would be like. Even Isaac was very confused. Why are we going up to do the sacrifice without an animal to sacrifice? Abraham just reassured him that God would provide, and provide He did. As Isaac laid out on the altar, the knife was raised and God said, "Stop." And there was a ram in the thicket. So thinking about whatever it is that we're going through, whether it's a medical diagnosis, stress at work, family issues, we know and can trust the promise of God that He is faithful and He will provide.